So we have one from Danielle. Danielle, hi, how are you? She's on, so I will let you unmute yourself if you want, but I'll read your question to start and you can feel free to give more context to Nikki. So Danielle, this is her third baby, and she's always relied on daycare establishing a nap schedule and creating the routine once her kids went. But now that this baby's going to be home with her while she works from home, along with her other two kids, she needs to be able to put the baby in a crib for a nap. So she's wondering suggestions on getting the baby to nap without wearing, doing baby wearing or nursing during nap time. And then also, second part of the question, suggestions to balance a full-time job with an infant at home while also nursing and having two other kids at home. Because as she said, she's terrified about working around the clock. And I think we're all experiencing that right now. And frankly, working from 5 a.m. till midnight is not sustainable, especially when you've got a little one at home. So any ideas on those two questions would be great. And Danielle, please feel free to jump in or ask anything else in addition to that.
Yeah. So how old are your other kids, Danielle?
I have a almost 6-year-old. He's 5.5. He'll be 6 in August. And then I just had my middle one just turned 3. And so they're pretty self-sufficient, I guess would be, whereas my
as much as a 3-year-old can be.
Yeah. But he's great. Like, he has a very good routine. He's independent player. I'm actually like, oh, he's so easy compared to a newborn right now. And it's funny, it's like my third, so I feel like I should be better at the newborn stage, but I'm like, I have to give myself a little bit of a break because my other two weren't born during a pandemic, and when I returned to work, I was going to work and they weren't home with me, and so I was able to just kind of enjoy maternity leave and not have to establish all of these things that are gonna set me up for success in the next couple weeks, because my daughter was born pretty much a week into quarantining in my state. So we've been kind of sheltering in place, and it's been great to be like our own little nest, but now that bubble is going to be burst in a little bit because I go back to work in about 2 weeks.
So you'll be working from home?
Yes.
Exclusively at that point?
Yes.
And how old is your baby now?
She's 10 weeks.
10 weeks, okay. What's your parenting style?
I do mostly attachment. If they cry, I respond immediately. I physically respond if they're crying. So like I get sweaty and anxious, so I try and respond pretty quickly to that. But I like to give them as much of an independent time that they can. With my oldest being in kindergarten, he's been doing a lot of homeschooling and online learning. And he's great. Here's your links, see what you need to do. He clicks around, and then when he just can't read something or figure something out, he comes and asks for help. But I'm pretty structured in my day. Like, I follow a routine. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is like the baby just doesn't have a routine. And so I'm trying to create the routine. And that's where my strategy is kind of falling a little bit, because I don't want to get frustrated with her because I'm not getting that routine down for her.
Right.
Following it because she's a newborn.
Right. Yes. Well, newborns can definitely follow a schedule. I know on attachment parenting, it's more on demand, just parenting on demand. But when you have to work at home, even if it's just temporarily changing things up, a schedule could be really helpful for you. And with a schedule, I mean, like an hour and a half up and an hour and a half down. And to create that, you don't have to do any, like, cry it out. You can just teach them gentle sleep training. How's your soothing techniques?
Mostly nursing is my soothing technique. But I swaddle still, so that's been really helpful to swaddle. And then we have a swing, so she likes that. I also baby wear when I have to do something else, like, and I need 2 hands to do it. So I'll baby wear, and she conks out as soon as she gets into the motions. So those are kind of my strategies right now, is like survival. I will throw you in the carrier. I will go for a walk, and I'm holding her right now, just patting her bum, and she's gently like snuggling in. So those are kind of what I.
Yeah. Does she sleep in a crib, or do you co-sleep?
We have a co-sleeper like a bassinet co-sleeper. I'm in the process of moving that to her. I have a pack and play bassinet that's next to it. So I've moved the co-sleeper into that, and she sleeps in that now.
Okay. When she falls asleep, are you letting her sleep until she wakes up on her own, or are you waking her?
At the beginning, I was waking her because we always struggle with low weight gain.
Okay.
So I was really trying to make sure that she was nursing pretty regularly to get the weight gain up. But now we're back where we should be. So she's just petite. But those of my other two kids were petite too. So we're good with that. But now I let her sleep till she wakes up.
Yeah. So if you wanted to implement even a light schedule so that you have some predictability in your life, I would suggest setting a time in the morning to wake up, and then wake her up at that time, and then go an hour and a half up. So some kind of stimulation, tummy time, walking around, stimulating her mind for that hour and a half, and then very purposely swaddling, soothing, and putting to sleep wherever the safe sleep space is that you like to go. So that way you know that during an hour and a half after she wakes up, you'll be able to work for an hour and a half.
Okay.
And within that hour and a half, she might wake up. So you can soothe her back to sleep and then go back to what you're doing. She needs to stay in her sleep space for that hour and a half. So maybe practicing with that now before you start going back to work. So that way it kind of sets the tone for your day, but you're not stuck to like an hour-to-hour schedule, but it gives your day some predictability, and you can schedule meetings for those hour and a half in between, and then spend time with your baby in the hour and a half that she's awake to kind of create that work-life balance that most parents really desire. If you're working, is your partner at home?
At the moment, but he's going to be going back to work just shortly before me. So that's the other terrifying part, to have a partner and then know that he's not going to be available.
Yeah.
For most of the day.
Will he be working at home too?
No.
No. Okay, so it'll be solely you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so definitely that would be the most helpful, is setting that up now, an hour and a half up from the time they wake up, hour and a half down. Do that throughout the day until about dinner time, and then there's a 45-minute cat nap that you can get. Usually a great time to cook dinner, and then have some awake time, bedtime routine, and then put them to bed. Ideally, it's good for them to get on a schedule like an 8 to 8 or a 9 to 9.
Okay.
So that could be helpful, but I would suggest definitely practicing it before you start work so that you don't feel like you're jumping into a new schedule on both ends.
Right. And then I have to be at this meeting, but she's not falling asleep because she's not used to this.
Right.
That sounds doable.
I think that was helpful. And I have a schedule too, that if there's like a link I could post.
Yeah,
for your
absolutely.
ladies.
We can post that afterwards. Yeah, definitely. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you for the question.